Strike one. Strike two. You're out of there! Or at least I think that's how it goes, right? 3 strikes are out. Well, it's been more than 3 strikes for Miss No Teeth Snake Lively. And this new footage that has come out is quite telling about everything that's been happening. There's already been so many lies unfound, which we're going to get into just a few, I think, of the biggest ones so far that she has blatantly lied about in her complaint, okay? Totally lied. Reality does not exist in her complaint. I've gone over all of the lawsuits, all of the complaints, and let me tell you, this new footage, girl, you better open up that checkbook. You better be open up that checkbook. I know now you're over there on IG posting like everything's Gucci, right? You have one new movie come out and you're over there posting like we're going to forget that you have a $400 million lawsuit pending against you for trying to destroy Raphael's life. We are not going to forget. Life isn't all Gucci for you. What you need to do is open that checkbook, make a statement, and apologize because it's getting out of control. You've been lying, girl. You're a liar, pants on fire. And now, before we just go into all of the videos and pictures that have been swarming the internet and the new video that's been leaked, there is this new article that dropped on this publication, Entitlement, Harassment, and Retaliation, the Justin Baldoni story. It's very pro-Blake, anti-Justin. Actually, I would say even anti-men. I'm not going to really get into it, but I do have a few things to say. Go over to her Twitter account. Yes, Twitter, not X. I refuse. When you go over to her Twitter account, it says, I've been dismayed by the anti-feminist uptake of Justin Baldoni's retaliation against Blake Lively. There's a ton of misinfo out there, so I wrote about his feminism, the ongoing case, and the allegations against him, and his strange responses. His strange responses? Blake Lively's team has been gaslighting us every step of the way, trying to use the Me Too movement, trying to use all women who have been harassed, every statement has been just wild. Even when the dance montage came out, trying to say that helps her case. I mean, his responses? Come on. But I do want to say that there is nothing anti-feminist about speaking out against what Blake Lively and her husband Ryan Reynolds have done. Because let's remember, it's not only Justin Baldoni's life that is being ruined every day that this continues, but it's also his wife, his daughter, okay? I think he has one daughter, right? Jamie Heath, his partner, Jennifer Abel, Melissa Nathan. There are other women involved, and it's not just Blake against Justin. It's very much Blake and her dragons against Wayfair and anyone that had anything to do with it. And let me just be clear, because a lot of people still, I got this when I first started following this case and reporting on this case, all the way up until my latest videos where people are, oh, I'm anti-woman because I'm speaking up against Blake, or I'm not a feminist, or blah, 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 I'm being paid by Justin Baldoni. I'm not on his payroll, sister, okay? But, if he's hiring in the future, I would love to work for Wayfair because they sound freaking amazing and are total, everything aligns morally, it feels like, right? But let me just say, just because women speak out against evil that another woman is doing, it doesn't make them anti-woman. Just because I share the same body parts, lady parts as Miss Blake Lively doesn't mean that I get to sit silently in the sidelines and say nothing about what she's doing, the way she has taken this man's movie from him, right? Just because we share the same body parts, it doesn't mean that I'm going to sit quietly while she is a see you next Tuesday. Okay? That's not the way it works at all, period. And in fact, I would argue it's anti-feminist to stand up to women who are literally taking women on set ages back by this fake harassment and this fake complaint about sexual harassment and repeated ongoing sexual harassment. Because now when women who are actually in the workplace being harassed will not have a strong enough voice to speak forward because it'll already be the jokes. Oh, she's just being a Blake. Oh, don't be like Blake. Oh, she's too Blakey, right? When there's actual serious harassment happening. So I would say it's actually anti-feminist of you, right? Look at the receipts, check the timeline, My gosh. Oopsie, got into it there a little bit. Sorry about that. So right now we are going to watch a little bit of leaked footage that happened by some paparazzi on the set of It Ends With Us. And then we're going to talk about exactly why this is not good for Snake Lively and Ryan Reynolds. First, I just want to show you a quick clip of what first came out when it first dropped, and then the narrative that they tried to spin on us. You can tell just by the captions of this video and the comments that were happening that people are like, she was clearly uncomfortable. She's supposed to be uncomfortable in the scene. Did you watch the movie? She grabs him, pushes them away like, hey, that's enough for today, big guy. See you later. I mean, obviously that's paraphrased in a subtext of the character, but you know what I mean? But we'll just watch this quick and you'll see this kiss, and then you'll see the next kiss that everyone just found.
The kiss is so passionate. The last 20 seconds. Blake Lively claimed that Facebook found
So you see there, and then it goes off to as soon as the cameras were stopped rolling, they were fighting. Yeah, there was lots of clips of them getting into it, and you know why? Because Blake was trying to direct the director. Hello. But even in here, there's lots of people in the comments saying, "Oh my God, she looked so uncomfortable."
Oh yeah, she looks real uncomfortable.
It's literally called acting. But the next video. And don't worry, I'm going to pause it. We're going to zoom in. We're going to see exactly what was going on here because No Teeth Lively sure likes to use teeth.
So this is the scene, right outside the restaurant. Like, blah, 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 blah. Spicy. That looks like a lip bite teeth. It's like a lip bite. That looks like teeth, Blake. Teeth, girl. Spicy.
Okay, so they were acting. Right. They were acting. So why is this so important? Why is it so important that now this footage is coming up saying that she used teeth while kissing him? Was that improv? Was there an intimacy coordinator, Blake? Did you guys rehearse that? Let's see why that is so damning. Let's go all the way back to Blake's text messages when she was talking about the rooftop scene. Now, this wasn't the 14-page unhinged My Dragons Taylor Swift text that she sent about how she doesn't get appreciated as a writer and she does blah, 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 blah. This isn't the one. This is the one where she's just requesting to have the pass on the rooftop scene. Already through some of her writing, I can see how her and Justin kind of got off because she just says, for Christ's sake, not cute. Anyway, they're talking about the importance of the scene and how she wants to dive in and do a little pass. Let's look at the second page of this text. She says, I can send you my pass at the roof or just read with you when we get together next week. Let me know what you prefer, smiley face. I'm sorry. If you know me in person longer, you'd have a sense of how flirty and yummy the ball busting would play. It's my love language, spicy and playfully bold, never with teeth. Never with teeth? And him serving it back to her is just as important. You don't usually see both the man and the woman with such agency and humor. Anyway, I can act it out for you next week to make sure it comes through. Or I can send now. Let me know what you prefer, XX. And then he literally replies with a picture of him crying. Sorry, we was just crying my eyes out as kids and family just left for another 5 weeks. Get the hint, girl. Get the hint. I mean, I would even go to argue, in my opinion, alleged, when they had an HR meeting to talk about the values and how to speak to people and like that whole HR meeting, it was because Blake was being highly unprofessional. Like, those texts are wild. All of the texts that she sends are fueled with sexuality and flirtiness and ball busting, as she likes to say. And she's really trying to take this character and really not have to act, because she's like, this is how I would do it, this is how I would say it, this is how it's not about you, it's about turning into a character called Lily Bloom, right? But even all of her texts, I just find that they are so fueled with sex and with flirtiness. And it's funny how, these texts of yummy came up, and then, I hate to say this, but when she then went to use her Instagram for the first time ever to post about the tragic death of Michelle Trachtenberg, one of her Gossip Girl stars, and she used yummy lip gloss, and now she's all over Instagram back again, like Blake's back. Like, I guess that was her like intro back to Instagram. And it was just very funny that she used those yummy again, because when you looked up yummy and Blake before, that's the text you saw. And now it's, her eulogy to Michelle, if that's what you want to call it, talking about her lip gloss from 14 years ago is... Anyway, not going to go there. I'm really thinking that hopefully she had the best intentions with that Instagram post. But again, I don't want to take away from Michelle too much on that. That's all I'm going to say about that. But I'm just going to hope that she had the best intentions. But yummy, I don't know. In Blake's complaint, as well as her amended complaint, she states, with these protections in place, Mr. Baldoni improvised physical intimacy that had not been rehearsed, choreographed, or discussed with Miss Lively, with no intimacy coordinator involved. For instance, Mr. Baldoni discreetly bit and sucked on Miss Lively's lower lip during a scene in which he improvised numerous kisses on each take that were not pre-approved in the script and without an intimacy coordinator there. Okay. And now, as we know, the timeline in this whole It Ends Never saga is very important, okay? So these kisses were captured on January 13th of 2024. January 13th. So I thought to myself, well, that infamous meeting that they had was somewhere in the beginning of January. So I went back to her lawsuit. I went back to her original as well as her amended complaint to make sure that it all aligned. And when it says "and it was" is very important. We just saw the date of those kisses where she was biting his lip, okay? But yet they say at the end of the January 4th meeting, having discussed at length the details of concern that had been expressed by Miss Lively and others, the parties agreed to implement and follow the protections for return to production to ensure that the film could be completed, marketed, and released safely and successfully, and it was. Now let's go look at those list of demands that were agreed upon on January 4th, even though the Wayfarer party did not agree that any of this was going on, which they said, but they were not allowed to argue and or change any of the wording allegedly from their own lawsuit, which they said. But number 13, no more improvising of kissing. All intimate touch must be choreographed in advance with Blake Lively and an intimacy coordinator. No biting or sucking of lip without Blake Lively consent. I don't get it. So it's okay for you to do it. You can improv kisses. You can suck on that man's lower lip and act however you want to act. Steal this man's movie and there's zero repercussions. You don't think your text messages, you don't think your improv kissing, you don't think that's fine? That's fine. You're allowed to be ball busting and joking and sexy and flirty, but when he uses the word sexy, nah, that's a no-go for you? I don't know what just popped up on my screen. That's never happened before. I don't even know if it will be on the recording, but a big thumbs up just appeared, and I'm like, okay, the universe is agreeing with me. No, but I mean, come on. Like, this is, it's wild, and it's just so wild. What a liar, liar, pants on fire. That is strike one. Let's go back a little bit. When Blake dropped her amended lawsuit at 11:59, right on the money, like, wow, not 1 minute too late to miss her deadline, all of the reporters came out, and every headline looked like this. Other actresses uncomfortable on set, other actresses, da-da-da. Even though Blake never even put in the complaint who the other actresses were, it was pretty clear by her description of the scene and what happened that one of them was Isabella Ferrer. And you can only assume that the other actress on set was either Blake Lively's sister or Jenny Slate. But all of the tabloids, all of the headlines, all of the media sources were like, told ya, Justin's a creep, told ya, he did it to all the women on set. Just to then find out that, yes, one of the women was Jenny Slate. Whoo, girl. And apparently, and this wasn't even a complaint made, allegedly, and it wasn't even against Justin Baldoni. And it just seems to me real Gossip Girls, you know, getting together like, he's such a creep, do you know what he said to me? No, girl, do you know what he said to me? Oh, no, men hating ass women, you know, because Jenny Slate's come out open. I've talked about this many times. She was so proud and so happy to beat Mr. Chris Evans, literally on a podcast laughing about DV, laughing about how she used to beat him. Okay? So anyway, turns out that Jamie allegedly, told her she was going off, I guess, complaining about how she just moved with her toddler and she hated the place. The apartment wasn't suitable for them. She didn't like it, but she couldn't move because she gave a $15,000 deposit that wouldn't be reimbursed. And Jamie Heath then offered to pay on behalf of Wayfair, pay the $15,000 deposit for her because he feels so strongly about the sanctity of motherhood, and I guess talk to her about the sanctity of motherhood and what being a mother is about, and that they would eat the $15,000 so that she could move to a place that she was happy with her toddler. And apparently that made her feel some type of way, so uncomfortable around this man that he would offer to help her move in her time of need and eat $15,000 for her. It made her feel so uncomfortable that she filed a complaint. But then didn't file a complaint, but then filed a complaint. No one really knows what the frig, if the complaint was actually even filed or not. But some sources are saying that it wasn't actually filed. It was just brought to the attention of someone, Blake Lively. And then she made a complaint about it. But regardless, what a joke. Okay, please, what? The toxic positivity. The toxic positivity. It's too much. How dare you? How dare you offer me $15,000 so I can move because I'm a mom? Get out of here. In Blake's own lawsuit and the amended one, she says that during an intimate scene with another actress, there was only another actress that did an intimate scene. After that, Justin Baldoni, the director, went up to them and said, that was really hot. Did you guys practice or rehearse before? Because that was really hot or something. And you already know that that's Isabella, so without even saying her name, you literally said her name because that's the only other scene in the movie. Duh. Okay? But then you have text from Isabella to Justin, right? And you have interviews with Isabella, which I've already covered. There's interviews of her saying how amazing the intimacy coordinator was, how amazing the director was, how comfortable she felt, how everyone really kept her safe and made it like a really great experience. And then you have this text that she sends. Now, we have to remember that she was never on set with Blake Lively. They shot different times, right? She was never on set with Blake. So you have her texting Justin after saying, "Thank you so much. I'm so excited. Thank you for being a great director and being so wonderful to work with already. Let me know whenever if you need me for anything." And then Justin said, "So kind, more to come. You're going to kill it." She loved that and then wrote, "Hey, just got my film developed from when we were shooting, so here's the sweet pic. I also have to say thank you so much for the incredible experience on my first film. I still can't shake the feeling of it all because it truly was life-changing for me. You were such a wonderful, smart, and sincere director, and you created such a comfortable, safe space for me to feel like I could fully step into this role. I couldn't have asked for a more welcoming environment. It will stay with me for the rest of my life. See you soon, whether in the fall or later, and I hope you're doing well." Strike two! I mean, come on. The only reason why Isabella probably told you anything because you were prying. You groomed that girl, Blake Lively. You groomed her. You started giving her clothes, bringing her to premieres, dressing her for all of the red carpet so that she didn't have to pay for all of that, because that does come out of one's pocket if you don't have the huge fashion connections like Blake does. Had sleepovers, gave her, come on. Come on. How come now if she's going to testify for you, she feels a whole lot different, right? But we'll see if she even does. But the Jenny Slate, already washed. She's a man-hater. She beats her boyfriends. Come on. Oh, God. That interview is so cringe where she's openly laughing about beating Chris Evans. Now she's trying to pull, without necessarily even saying their names for protection, but yet talks exactly about what happens in the scene so you can piece it together. You have texts from her and Justin and interviews of her saying how comfortable she was on set, even talking about how amazing the intimacy coordinator was. Now, strike three. And I'm sure there has been so many more strikes than these. These are just the big ones, obviously. But I am going to show at the end of the video a few other tidbits that some TikTokers have been going. Internet sleuthing. You want to call us internet sleuths, this is what we do. New internet sleuths shirts are available in the link, as well as many Team Justin Baldoni shirts, because no one puts Baldoni in the freaking basement, okay? And yeah, let's get into the last one. This is from Way Back Playback. We're just going to go over the dance montage one more time because I think it's super critical. I think it really shows just how big of a liar, pants on fire Blake really is. And honestly, one of my followers sent me a really amazing message that she was rewatching this video montage and found something that no one had been talking about. So while we're here, I'm going to go over it again with you. We're just going to go about the most important things of the scene. We don't have to rehash the whole 10 minutes, but I'm going to see if I can find exactly what she's talking about and then pinpoint why that is so important. Let's just read really quickly what is in her complaint because, oh my gosh, she talks about being trapped. Like, there is nothing that I saw in that video that says trapped. You know what happens to people when they are trapped? They fight, flight, or freeze, right? Like, she didn't try to get out of there. She says she's trapped in this scene. Well, let's be so for real, okay? Also, what I found very interesting is a lot of her wording used to make us to really punch in there that she could not get away, that this was not choreographed at all, that he really held her there and trapped her there. With 200, 300 people around her, she was trapped. But let's just go over again what she says in her lawsuit. On another occasion, Mr. Baldoni and Miss Lively were filming a slow dance scene for a montage scene, meaning, and this is from the amended one, right? Because in her other one, it was, she said that there was no sound recorded, but yet he was speaking out of character and blah, 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 blah. Now that we have exactly what happened, it changed how she worded it. This is from the amended one, so just keep that in mind, because the first one, when I read it, I was like, what happened? Because I really thought, for real, that what she was saying, it happened, and then you realize that, oh man, okay. On another occasion, Mr. Baldoni and Miss Lively were filming a slow dance scene for a montage scene, meaning that none of the sound recorded while filming the scene was meant to be used in the film. Music was intended to play over the action. Nonetheless, microphones were live to pick up room tone, but not conversations or dialogue to be used in the film. The scene in the script specifically described dancing without dialogue and did not include any intimate conduct or kissing. The scene is exterior bar night. Lily and Ryle slow dance in the bar. Patrons around them drinking and watching sports, completely in their own world. And then she also says, just there, the scene in the script specifically described dancing without dialogue. Yeah, without dialogue, Blake! So why are you arguing to talk and talk and talk and talk and talk? Anyway, Mr. Baldoni did not provide notice or seek consent for any intimacy in advance. Instead, Mr. Baldoni chose to spontaneously improvise the scenes while the cameras were rolling. During the filming, Mr. Baldoni repeatedly leaned in towards Miss Lively, attempting to kiss her, kissing her forehead, rubbing his face and mouth against her neck, putting his thumb on her mouth and flicking her lower lip, caressing her, and telling her how good she smells. None of this took place while Mr. Baldoni was in character as Ryle, because both the intimacy and dialogue departed from what had been agreed to in the script. That's a lie, because you literally just said that there was no dialogue. So how can you depart from dialogue? See what I mean? It's just a little something I just caught right now. Miss Lively was uncomfortable and kept leaning away and repeatedly suggesting and then begging that their characters should just talk. She tried to use lividity and creative pleas to deflect the unwanted touching, hoping to get through the scene in a way that maintained a professional boundary without antagonizing Mr. Baldoni. And I just love like little footnotes here, because this footnote, wow. The fact that Miss Lively varied the number of kisses in other scenes in which the kissing was scripted in advance does not justify Mr. Baldoni's improvisations or his attempts to add graphic sex scenes into the film. In other scenes, the kissing was consistent with the plot. It had structure and blocking, and most importantly, it was discussed in advance and was mutually consensual. There can be flexibility in such scenes, but it must be within appropriate boundaries. And the key is advanced planning and consent. Mr. Baldoni acted without planning, without consent, and grossly outside the acceptable boundaries. He made it personal and repeated even after Miss Lively spoke up and became defensive and dismissive when challenged, no matter how politely she mentioned it. So they don't kiss in this scene. And the flicking of the lip, if she had read the book, is actually in the book. Everything that he was doing was things that Ryle does do. So that's very interesting of her to say. They actually don't kiss, and they talk about not kissing. In the dance montage, she's saying that they didn't even discuss it or talk about it. They actually talk in the montage about going there but not giving the audience what he wants. And the director, Justin Baldoni, is the one begging. If I had seen anyone beg, he keeps telling her, like, we shouldn't be talking. All they wanted was one take of them not talking, and Blake couldn't do that. All she does is direct the scene. And let me say that when you're on set, there is no way you don't know what is going to happen in the scene. Obviously, you improv some things, and you know there's always has to be room for some improv, but you show up on set hours before you shoot a take. You're in wardrobe for that scene. You know your call time. You get a list of shots that you're going to be shooting. You get your hair and makeup done. You go through rehearsal. You show up on set. You block the movement, and then you shoot. So for her, and the scene says, lost in their own world. I see that when, that's what I see when I see that he was really trying to just get her to get lost a little bit, zip it up so they can just get 10 seconds of a shot, but she would not cooperate. She thought that they should be talking and talking and talking. And they do talk about coming close to kiss and then not kissing. It's actually discussed in the takes. And then she said, I remember in her first complaint, that after that, when she said, I'm not comfortable with this, and he said, I'm not even that attracted to you. We don't see that off of these takes, but if that did happen, that was probably where Blake snapped and was like, a man isn't attracted to me. Oh my God, ew. Something like that. That's probably what I think really got her going is if he did say that to her. She's very used of men catering at her feet and groveling for her. So if he did say that, that was probably a huge huge hit to her ego. And yeah.
Well, the whole
And this is just halfway through, but I do want to say that, like, if you're uncomfortable with flirting, dancing, and getting lost in your partner's eyes, do not take a role like it ends with us.
Yeah, people passing.
On action, it'll just be celebration. They just scored. Ready and lay back.
Let me get your hat in there for a second, and then I'll take it off. Like, I'll try to kiss you, and then I'll take it off.
Okay.
I know you wanted the hat. All of it.
Yeah. It feels.
Let me get your hat in there for a second, and then.
Hold on, I'm gonna get you a hat in there, because then I'll take it off.
Take it off. Like, I'll try to kiss you, and then I'll take it off.
Like, I'll try to kiss you, and then I'll put it here.
Okay.
I know you wanted the hat.
Great. Because I know you wanted the hat. How would he know that if they hadn't talked about it before? She literally agrees. He says what he's going to do. She says, great. I don't see anybody fighting, saying that they're trapped, saying how uncomfortable. I don't agree. I don't think you should lean in for a kiss. Let's not do that. Great. And then he says, 'cause I know you wanted the hat. How would he know she wanted the hat if they hadn't talked about it before?
Yeah, you know I like the hat.
Yeah, you know I like my hat.
Oh, that's a sticker, good.
Is it a sticker?
Yeah, no, there's no sticker.
And they score! They score!
As long as there are stars above you,
Yo.
And this is how I know that Blake fully intended to take over the movie and direct the movie, because even when they were just shooting their shoes, which I think is a cool shot, she insists, make sure you get the shoes in there, because she wanted it to be a huge Blake Lively fashion show. 100%. Strike 3. You're out of here. First, the dance montage, a lie. The other actresses, lies. Or at least they hadn't said anything so far. So, you know, not really great witnesses. And now, the lip biting? You were the one doing the lip biting, girl? Oh my gosh, that is so wild. And now there's even more stuff coming out. And it's going to keep coming out, Blake, okay? I told you before your amended lawsuit, I had said in a video, whatever you're lying about, take out the lies. Just tell the truth. Don't embellish. Don't do nothing. Just tell the truth. Okay? And also, what is kind of wild, okay, is as soon as we see the birthing videos, the behind the scenes birthing videos, and it shows that you weren't completely naked the way you explained, and it shows that you were covered and that you were wearing boxers when it was wide shots, or shots that they could do that with, you accused Steve Soritz of showing up on set that day only because you were going to have your legs spread apart and do the birthing scene. You accused that man. You accused a studio head of showing up because you were going to have your legs spread open giving birth in that day. What studio head is going to ever trust working with you again? Honestly, in any kind of capacity, if you're going to be, you know, showing anything. Steve Soritz says he wasn't even there during that part. He showed up way after. And then you accuse the OBGYN of just being Justin Baldoni's friend. Oh, he hired some guy because they wanted to get close to your vajayjay. He just hired his friend off the street. When that man is an actual trained actor. You know? Like, that is crazy. You think so many people just want to get so close to you, and you're this huge thing that these men just want to grab at you and get you, when you just accused 2 other men of doing very inappropriate things. A studio head showing up just because you were going to have your legs spread open, and Justin Baldoni hiring just some chummuck, one of his friends, off the streets so that he can get close to you. What? So as soon as that gets proven and we get some footage of the birthing scene, it's a wrap. All of your claims gone, kaput. Out of here. And now, big shout out to a few people over there on TikTok. They probably have other socials too, but I follow them on TikTok. This guy, Chris, he is going in hard on the New York Times. He's saying that in the original, when it was first put out, the New York Times, you can kind of see it down here. It said illegal complaint lays out an allegation of a smear campaign. But now, if you look at the New York Times, it says text messages. So they've changed their story too, which is quite interesting. At first they said an illegal complaint, and now it's text messages. Great job, Chris. There is another TikToker who goes down rabbit holes. Like, oh my God, she's on this huge rabbit hole right now into just how diabolical Blake Lively and Ryan Reynolds is when they do Easter eggs and they like to make fun of people, and the way they made fun of still Justin Baldoni and Emily Baldoni with these twinning matching sweaters. Because if y'all remember this cringe PR that was done after It Ends With Us, okay, where they were wearing matching sweaters. Well, now there's behind the scenes footage that Blake was directing this whole interview. Remember when Brandon Sklenar, I guess, was supposed to play Justin Baldoni, and they were saying how nice he is, and they had Ryan show up and play like the angry, jealous husband during a DV movie, which is very strange. But then they had Ryan's mom show up, and she was like falling for Brandon, and it was all very weird. And then they had them all in matching sweaters. Well, she's going down the rabbit hole, and if you guys can check her out, because I mean, it is diabolical. It seems like nothing when you're just like, okay, well, whatever, they're just matching sweaters. It's not nothing. It is just so unhinged inside the minds of Snake Lively and Ryan Reynolds. It is wow. And another, she's on YouTube, Instagram, TikTok. This is Dana Bowling. She just had a source come out and say that they were there at Another Simple Favor. They were there, and I'm not going to give her whole video away because if you haven't seen it, you should. But I am going to talk about a couple of little things that she says. But the source does go on to say the movie and give it a little bit of a review. So in the film, I guess there's some lines that have some interesting parallels to what's happening now. For example, Blake's character says, "I'll sue you into oblivion."
We will drag your name through the mud and sue you into oblivion.
Which we know now Brian Freeman used back in December when he was first talking about the case. But then also, remember my last video when I said that Blake was saying how she was uncomfortable because the director threw her a twist, and now it's going to be weird watching it in the theater with an audience. And I said if it has anything to do with intimacy, that will not be good for you. Well, yes, allegedly, and this is going to give away the movie, so if you're planning on watching the movie, maybe stop the video here. But allegedly in the movie, I haven't seen it, this is coming from, the source, that there was no need for an intimacy coordinator in Another Simple Favor because Blake does have a sex scene with herself. Allegedly, this was thrown to her, okay? This was the twist that the director threw at her. She has a sex scene with a green screen to herself with her long-lost triplet sister. Okay, so why is it okay for that director to throw you this curveball, but it's not okay that someone lingers on a kiss too long, or it's not okay when Justin, from notes from the intimacy coordinator, suggested that you guys climax together, which is in the book, I believe. That's not okay when Justin's doing it, but this is okay. Interesting. It's not going to look good. That does not look good for her. That doesn't, again, oh my gosh, that's not going to be good, because how are you saying that you were under so much duress from being repeatedly sexually harassed that you finished that set and went immediately to the next set and was able to do all of this stuff and it was fine, it wasn't triggering, it was okay. Come on. And also, it goes on to say that in a Yahoo article, when she was talking about her shoe cross Blake, she went on to say it was kind of fun, like finding your porn name. But yet, in her whole complaint, she talks about how she's never watched porn and how derogatory and horrible it was to hear Justin talk about his past porn addiction, which he talks about openly in his book and on his podcast, by the way. Lots of things. Lots of things. And also, I just want to note that, you know, she was so against improv, but yet she is on record saying that Brandon, who plays Atlas in It Ends With Us, when he turns to her and says, "What about you? What do you want?" That was improv, she says. And then she took him on the whole PR tour and over-sexualized this man, got him to say it on stage to all the women, wanted women to like drool over him, you know. "What about you? What do you want?" She's like, say it, say the line. That was an improv line. And now you're using it to over-sexualize that man. So that's interesting as well. We'll see this week if the judge comes back and denies any of the motions for attorney eyes only, as well as if anything else happens or what's going to happen with the New York Times. But until then, let's get into it. Let's have some positive thoughts to leave this. Okay, I'm just going to pull a card from the Listen Bitch deck, and we'll see what happens. Drown out the effing noise and keep doing you. Yeah, to all the haters out there, to anyone, drown out the effing noise and keep doing you. Keep going, keep being open to whatever is possible. Keep living your dreams every day, plug away, keep it at the forefront of your mind, and don't listen to the naysayers. Unless you're Blake and the director's telling you no, then probably listen, you know? But just keep going, keep doing you. You're doing amazing. And yeah, talk soon. Have the best day. Bye.